It's all right. We'll get
That's
it.
affirmative, right, Juliet? To the
Everybody look down here. It's a bonanza just landed right here. He landed on
That's
runway
fine.
8. That's the long runway, 826 right out here.
T-Hanger, DND, stay with you, 35 Victor.
He parks down what we call T-hangers down here. He'll turn left, and come around, go down there. My name is Roger Aldridge. This is Dan Smith. I'm working ground control. This is a ground control position. This is what we call local control. Local control handles all the airplanes taking off and landing, and then ground control works airplanes in and out, on the taxiing in and out on the ground. And we rotate positions. One day he'll be there, one day I'm over here, and even sometimes we'll even switch during the day. But most of the time we come in, we work one position all day, and the next day work the other position. So we split it up. This is our radar up here. We call it, old guys call it a Bryce, called an RACD, and but this is a Fulton County Airport right in the middle here. These circles right here is a 5-mile range mark. So from the middle to here, that's 5 miles. Across the whole thing is 10. So anyway, that'd be 5, 10, 15. We're looking about 15 miles. This is Hartsfield Airport down here. Still on one of those airplanes right there. Give me a beat out on it, Dan. You just show them what's. This is a VFR airplane right here, just flying around. It shows 2,500. If a guy's VFR not on an IFR flight plan, that's what it looks like, squawking 1,200. If you call us up over the tank farm, you guys done any flying, you know what I'm talking about? It's right here. That's what we'll see. A target about like that. That's his code, 1,200. Anybody got to guess what that 25 is?
Altitude.
Altitude, 2,500. That's right. Yeah. Who the hell the class? Who said altitude? That's altitude right there. And how about the 10 on there? Everybody got an idea what that might be?
Speed.
Speed, yeah. That's a ground speed, what he's doing across the ground. Now look at this right here. This is Delta 2267. He took off from Hartsfield, went out northbound. He's out of 7,800. You can see that 8,000 out, doing 290 knots across the ground. It's a Boeing 757, 752, whatever, 75 variation of it, I guess. And here's a 717, Delta 1391, taking off there. That's what the radar looks like. But these little hash marks we see coming from the airport here, those are 1 mile range marks. I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got a marker right there, 5.5 miles from the end of the runway. So that's what we'd do here if you're flying 15RA or 8404 uniform and you call into the tank farm. He's going to write a strip right here on his bay. He'll write your number down, put him down here in his active bay. He keeps the arrivals on one side and the departures on the other side, and that way you sort of tell who's coming in, who's going out. If you call outbound to me over here on ground control, I'm going to take a blank strip and just write your number on it, put the runway you're going to and which way you're going to fly, and I'll put it over there in his bay, and he knows who's going to be next. And I'll put him in his bay in order. The first one to take off will be on the bottom and then work his way up. And that way, so he knows who's who and what's what. And it's his job to make sure, the runway's clear when you take off and land. Over here we got 1432 small runway. Sometimes when the wind is a little bit stronger, we'll take off and use this runway with a small airplane. All the big airplanes use the longer runways. But sometimes the smaller airplanes won't run away because of the wind. Which way do we take off with relation to the wind?
Into it.
Into it, yeah. Why is that? Anybody know?
Better left.
Huh? It's better
More
left,
left.
yeah. And it decreases your ground speed too. When you're landing, if you're flying in the wind, your ground speed is going to be slower. It makes it easier to land. If you're landing with a tailwind, you're going to be faster across ground. It makes it more difficult to land and lift too. So we determine up here what the runway is going to be based on the wind. We'll look at the forecast wind in the morning, see what it's going to be. We'll make determination which runway we're going to be on. And during the day, if it changes, we'll change the runway around. Anybody know what an ATIS is? ATI?
Yes, sir.
That's Automatic Terminal Information System. I guess what it is. Anytime the weather changes significantly, we have to put a special. But every hour we put a new one on there, and it tells you what the wind, altimeter, the runway we're using, any significant information or weather. And that way, when an airplane checks in, he just tells us we got information Victor, and we know he's got all the information, and we don't have to go through all that verbiage and cloud up, and not at the frequency or whatever. Get too much going on frequency, and all we can do, it gives us more time to give control instructions. Same way on ground control. If you don't tell me you got the ATIS, then I got to give you all that information, or make sure you got it. So it's real important you call it, tell us you got the ATIS. Let me ask Hakeem, are you an instructor?
Yes, sir.
When y'all land and turn off the runway, sometimes you seem like you sit there a long time. Well, what are y'all going through?
We're going through the after landing checklist.
Okay. I knew you had to do that. It seemed like sometimes lengthy, maybe because of a student or whatever, but sometimes when I just sit there, like yesterday, I had a couple of situations where I'm getting ready to talk to another airplane, or we'll put the ATIS on, the guy turns off the runway, and I want to be able to talk to him, so I'm sitting here waiting, don't do what I want to do. You just seem to sit there and sit there and sit there. Can you do it after landing checklist when you get to the ramp, or you have to?
We can, yeah. Usually, especially with a newer student, things are going real slow.
Yeah,
And we like to be able to do it right after we get off the runway
Yeah.
to teach that. That's when it should be done.
right, yeah.
But it
Understand.
definitely can be done at the ramp. So.
It's probably not enough, it's probably not big enough deal to make a big issue out of it or anything.
What's that panel there? Is that figuring out the air
Here.
pressure?
Here,
Yes.
that's the wind, I should have told you, that's the wind and direction. Right now it's 100 at 15 knots. That's the altimeter, 3042, and this is the time clock, right here, 1637 Zulu, Greenwich time. You all know we use the same time aviation around the world. It's always the same time, Greenwich, England time, Zulu time, whatever you call it. So it's 1638 right now. And this is our frequency selector. I've got ground control selected. I can select several UHF or VHF frequencies, usually just one frequency working. These are what I call land telephone line. I can talk to Dan over there if I need to. A lot of things we coordinate, we're required to put them on the landline. So if I ask him, can I cross runway 8? He says, yeah, and then have an airplane say, I didn't tell you to cross runway 8. Yes, you did. So it cuts down on arguing that way. You can play the recorder back and find out who said what. So most of our coordination is control-oriented or cross-runway, stuff like that. We're supposed to put on a landline, I call that. There's several other places I can call on that too, but that's our telephone line here. This is this little machine right here, our IFR flight plans, inbound and outbound come out of this machine. They'll be printed out there. And this is ASOS. This is where we get our weather every hour we're there. Okay, I'm sorry.
So what's the most difficult part of being an air traffic controller?
Driving to work. I don't know. It's almost like, it's a good question. It's almost like if you got an aptitude, it's like being a pilot. If you got an aptitude for it, you can be good at it and comfortable with it. If you don't, you're not going to be comfortable with it, and it's going to be stressful. And it seems like a lot of people's got an aptitude for it, and some people don't. It's, I don't consider it that hard and that stressful. I enjoy a challenge. I am a pilot also. I'm not active. I am a private pilot, and I like airplanes, like aviation, like watching them. To me, the hardest part of being an air traffic controller is the shift work. Is we work like I'm off on Tuesday and Wednesday right now, and we work. Our regular rotation is 2 evenings. We come to work at 1:15 in the afternoon. Work to either 8 or 10 o'clock. Then we work 2 day shifts, like 5:45 in the morning, and work 1 midnight every week, from 10 o'clock to 6 o'clock in the morning. So we get our week over in a hurry, but it's pretty tiring just meeting the schedule. Your schedule is not routine, so you're sleeping, waking up different times every day. To me, that's the hardest part of being an air traffic controller. It's shift. This is it's pretty easy place to work. Dan and I both retired from the FAA. I worked at Hartsfield for 23 years. Dan worked at Montgomery and a couple other places around, stuff like that, approach control down there. And this is a pretty easy job here. This is a gravy job. It really is. And it's nice.
What's the midnight shift like?
It's hard to stay awake. The last midnight shift I worked, I came in at 10 o'clock, got relieved about 5:45 in the morning, did not talk to one airplane. Not one. And it's sort of we look at it sort of a political thing. is that several of these large companies around here, like Coca-Cola, Home Depot, people like that, are putting pressure on the city to keep the tower open all night in case they got somebody flying in. And I think their insurance regulations require for them to land at night, that there be an operating control tower or they can't land. And so I think it's really a economic thing as far as the companies and the county or city government is concerned to keep it open, because there is not an air traffic demand for us to be up here. As a matter of fact, of all the contract towers, this is called a contract tower. We don't work for the FAA, even though the FAA owns these facilities. We work for companies that have a contract with the FAA to provide controllers up here, and they usually hire ex-FAA controllers, retired FAA controllers, or retired military controllers, or controllers that came out of the military. And even all the small FAA facilities, they don't stay open midnight either. We're one of the small, we're the only small air traffic facility that stays open 24 hours a day. That I'm aware of, that's what I've heard.
What do you guys do when nothing's going on?
Still your business. No, I'm kidding. We just, I got a book I'm reading over here, and we take turns scaring each other, trying to keep each other awake. We take breaks every day. We got a TV downstairs on the base floor. We can go down and watch a little bit of TV, eat lunch, whatever we want to do. Just walk around. We mostly tell war stories, try to outlie each other. I've heard all his stories about 15 times. He's heard all mine 14 or 15 times. So, that's what we do up here. You know, it's IFR and the VFRs can't fly, and we don't do it. It's very slow. Very easy work. It's just a good job. If you want to be an air traffic controller, I recommend it very highly. Best way to get in the FAA or as an air traffic controller is to go in the military.
What do you do if, like, you're up here and there's an earthquake?
I want to run like hell.
When was the last earthquake in
I never
Atlanta?
had one. The wind gets up about 30 knots, I go down to the bathroom. The wind, I never thought about an earthquake or whatever, but I'm getting out. If I think there's a chance going to be one, I'm getting out of here. If the wind gets much over 40 knots, I'm going to get out of here too, because nobody's going to be landing. This tower is built, you know, engineers build sway into large buildings, tall buildings, so they don't break when the wind blows. This thing will move a little bit, and you'll feel it even swaying around. You can look at the bright and notice it swaying a little bit. Why do I feel queasy? The tower's moving, that's why. So, I've never had that situation, the earthquake thing. High wind, yeah, I've left once or gone down the base of the tower a couple of times. I never left the tower. Anyway, being an air traffic controller, best way to do that is probably go in the military right now. They've had some air traffic control schools, but the government changes their mind who they want to hire, when they want to hire them, and where they want to hire them out of. But they've never quit hiring military air traffic controllers. So if you want to be an air traffic controller, I suggest you go in the Navy, Air Force, something like that, and learn to be an air traffic controller. Get out after 4 years and apply for the FAA. It's a good job. Those buildings up there.
County Tower, Camp 924.
There's another.
Cap Flight 924 County Tower.
Let me show you something. Who's that, Captain 921?
That's what it says.
When you get him to
Cap
ident.
924 County Tower. I guess it don't matter.
Camp 924, we're over Inman Yards.
Watch this airplane right here.
With a Victor.
You're gonna get him an ident, show him an
Cap
ident.
924 ident. Haven't said top right there.
Come on, Captain 924.
There you go.
See that?
Yes.
ID right there? So that's a positive indication.
Cap
That's what that is.
924 ident observed.
That's how we did it. We tell you
Right
ident.
downwind,
That's what we
runway eight.
observed.
And say top right there.
And he told him to enter a right downwind for runway 8.
That's the upper.
Anybody know what a right, what's a right downwind?
That's maneuvering traffic.
When you enter the pattern, we tell you enter right downwind. Anybody know what that means? Which side of the airplane will the runway be on if you enter right downwind?
It's on the right.
You're on the right,
Off
wing.
right.
Off the right wing. We tell you enter left downwind, the airport's gonna be off the left side. You'd be surprised how many guys flying King Airs and Learjets. So like, we tell them enter right downwind, they go the wrong side of the airport. Man, how'd you get your private license, man?
What is one thing that not everyone knows about air traffic controllers? in the job? Like, what is one thing that?
I'm gonna turn that question over to my compadre here, Mr. Dan Smith.
Everybody knows everything about it. There's no secrets.
Like one thing.
Yeah, because everybody knows air traffic controllers like to sleep on the job, I probably, most air traffic controllers got a little bit of prima donna in them. They're alpha males or females, alpha, what do they call them?
Alpha females.
Alpha females and alpha males. They got an alpha type personality, is what I'm trying to say. They're mostly control freaks. That's what my kids' family tell me, is that, Dad, you don't control everything. I say, duh, I'm an air traffic controller, Mark. And you do, you grow to learn, you control everything, tell people what to do, and you tend to carry that outside of work. Hey, I'm in charge here, and you do this, you do that, do it my way. But I think that pilots are that way a lot too, so I think pilots, controllers are a little bit alike, and they got alpha personality. And to be a person that's real passive, I don't think it's gonna make a good controller or a pilot. You just, alpha personalities tend to have more confidence in themselves, and what they do.
What are some like the small things that really like irks AATC? That
Well, I'm glad you asked that question. It reminded me of something I want to tell you guys. And, what's your name again?
Hakeem.
Hakeem? Yeah, when you guys call for taxi, don't call for taxi until you're ready to taxi. It aggravates me if, if a guy calls taxi and I say, tax runway, we do that in India, whatever. I turn around and do something else, turn around and look for him. He's not, where are you, man? You're not even moving. Or anytime I give a control instruction, it's based on current time traffic right then. I like to tell them, hey man, that's not like an all-day sucker, when I give you a clearance. You're supposed to do it right. You're supposed to do it right then. You're supposed to use it right then. You can't save it in your pocket for another, 30 minutes now. Well, he told me a taxi. So that's one of my pet peeves about not just Ace. Now I'm not saying just Ace, but small aircraft or even corporate jets. They call for taxi, and you tell them what the traffic is. Pass behind that guy and taxi, you get doing something else. There's somebody else that's come along then, and you didn't tell them about it. You say, well, how come you didn't tell me about that guy? Well, how come you didn't tax when I told you to tax? So that's a good question.
Like, what's the largest aircraft you have ever controlled at this airport?
At this airport?
Yes.
Probably a 737.
Whoa.
I think that's about the biggest airplane I've seen in here. We've had some MD-88s and 737s flying here occasionally. C-130 military aircraft comes here, we'll get one occasionally.
For what reason?
There's a few 737s that are corporate airplanes, and they're just, for some reason, they want to fly in here. This is about the minimum length runway that they want to take off or land on.
yeah.
I've worked several 747s and C-5s, and when I was in the FAA, worked C-5s a lot, Dobbins Air Force Base. Or they've got some air traffic schools they call CTI schools. I forget what that stands for. There's one down in the middle of Georgia, Control Tower Initiative School. You can go there, but at one time, about 2 or 3 years, people going there, you had to go there to get a job or be out of the military. And now they've got where they're not even considering people out of CTI school, and they're taking people just off an exam. You can take an exam, and they'll take people off the exam. But it seemed like they never quit hiring those military controllers. They've got the experience. So that's the reason I said before, if I want to be an air traffic controller, I'd go in the Navy or the Air Force, get 4 years. But I'd make them guarantee me before I went. I wouldn't go unless they guarantee me it's going to be an air traffic controller. Unless you want to do something else. But I think you can, if you score high enough on the test, you can pick where you want to go or hold out for where you want to go, I think. I'm not sure.
Anybody having a last question? Otherwise, we'll head on back down.
It's not really pertaining to the job, but do you know anything about the Batman hangar?
Yeah, I usually tell about that. I'm glad you brought I forgot that's part of the lesson plan. That's part of the lesson plan. That hangar was empty for a lot of years, and there's a couple of companies got together that own their own corporate airplanes, and they've had a joint use of airplanes, and they rented that hangar. When they first opened it up to use it, a bunch of bats flew out of there, and so the guys told us, we're at the bat cave. And they started saying, referring themselves as Bat Cave. We started referring themselves as Bat Cave, and then they eventually just painted that bat symbol on the front. That's how that, and so as a result of doing that, everybody else on the airport got envious of having their own name, their catchy phrase or name for their hangar. So now Home Depot is called the Lumber Yard. It's right over there. We tax the Lumber Yard. That's that beige and green, light green stripe there. And the one next to it is Coca-Cola. They call that one every now and then the Coke bottle, because the green windows on the front right there are sort of a Coke bottle color, sort of shaped like a Coke bottle maybe. So call that the Coke bottle. And then Arthur Blanks is down on the end, in the back over there. We call that the bird cage for the falcons. His falcons on it. SunTrust hangar is down on the end here. We call that the vault. They call themselves the vault. So those are the catchy names we got in every place to attack. And then when you go to Hill, like I said, we want to go to the Hill, next to the Hill.
Whose jets are those in that?
Do what?
Whose jets are those in that hangar? Air Force jets?
Oh.
Vietnam there?
I used to know the guy's name. The guy was an ex-Delta pilot, I think. I used to know his name. I forgot it. They're privately owned. He took French hangars.
Oh, what kind of
They're
jets?
good-looking airplanes, aren't they?
What kind of jets?
Sir.
Huh?
What kind of jets?
Oh, one of them is a T-30. We used to call it T-33. It's real old, a shooting star. I'm not sure what the Navy designated for was. I think the Air Force used T-33. And the other one is it looks like Blue Angel. Is that what you're talking about? That is not an American-built airplane.
It's a MiG.
It's like, what did we find out was?
We looked it up.
L-39.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a country that's, it's like Romanian or something like that. Czechoslovakian built airplane. But that's a good-looking airplane. I like it.
All right, well, we really appreciate it. We're gonna have to head back down because it's right at the time where we typically end.
Okay.
So, but thanks so much.
Hey, you're welcome. When you go out, go back the same way you came. When you get to the gate, you can't open it, and you can't ring the buzzer from this side. We'll try to remember to open the gate for you. If we don't open it, call us on the phone up here.
Okay.
A lot of times we'll tell guys, we'll open it when you get down, we'll get busy, get back.
Yeah.
We look at them, people waving their head, let us out, let us out.
All right, we'll open it
Call us
up.
on the phone if we miss you, okay?
Everybody,
sir.
let's let them know we appreciate it. Thank you very much. Then we want to know what the window is down here by the door.
That's suicide door. That's in case of an earthquake. You want to jump out. If you want to jump out, if you'd rather jump out off the tower or go down the stairs, you got your choice. It's for access to the catwalk and for technicians to walk around there. Or it used to be, you had to have smoke.